Hello everybody, it's Tim here again. What I have on the bench here is a Bird 43. And I was looking at buying different elements for it. And while I was looking at that, I came upon this. It's a peak adapter, so it can make your Bird 43 a 43p, so which means it can read peak readings. Good for single sideband and the like. But in addition to that, it has these little switches here, and I'm going to zoom in on it to show you. And let me zoom in. Okay. So, come on. There it is. Zoom in a little bit more and I'll show you. It has some switches and an indicator light, so you can use the switch to turn it on and off of the peak function. And then there's another switch here which can give you the true reading of what your slug is, or times that by 2 or times that by 5. Got it on the internet. Comes from Watts Electronics. I got it on eBay and just came today. So I'm going to stick it in and see how it goes. Couple of things I noticed right off the bat. The board looks like it's pretty well done. There's one resistor here that's a little high, and I don't think that was an intentional thing. I think it just kind of wasn't pulled all the way through and was soldered, but no harm done. But the rest of the board, it looks very professional. Nice soldering on it, and nice and compact. Now, a couple of the things that I didn't particularly think too much of. One is the instructions. This isn't really much of an instruction sheet. You have to, no sense in backing up. Anyhow, so you have to kind of extrapolate a lot from this. One of the things is it really doesn't tell you about making the connection inside the meter. Another thing, it recommends using washers, flat washers on both sides of the board to give it more strength, which I would agree with that. But you know, I think if you produce something like that, you should probably include the washers in there for what they cost. I mean, I realize everybody's out to make a buck, but you know, because it's your board, so if you want it to last and be dependable, stick the washers in and that'll make it more dependable and last. But again, that's not a big thing. Washers don't cost that much, and I'm sure I have plenty of them around here. Another thing, like I said, the main problem that I had was I read through the instructions several times. Now, nowhere in there does it really kind of tell you how to put the switches in with this, which, nice thing about that is you can put this in the side here. I'm assuming it'll fit. Let me see if I pull the meter over here. You'll be able to put this in the side, and it'll take the place of one of your elements. I may have to take that out first. I don't know. I'll have to see. Oh, there we go. There we go. Goes right in the side. So that fits nicely there. Takes the place of one of the elements. So you lose that, but really, I don't think that's a big point. But so there. Where is it? Let me see. It looks really dark. There we go. So again, that looks nice. Let's see if I can light that up a little bit more. But the one thing I didn't particularly like was that it doesn't really tell you where or how to place the switches in here. And if I can get this out of the side of the meter here, I'll show you the fit on the switches. Where, let's get this lined up for you. The fit on the switches is pretty good. Gotta get my hand out of the way. It's tight. They'll fit in there, but you gotta wiggle them. I like that they're kind of tight. The thing I don't like is the LED does not fit in The LED is the indicator for, I'd imagine, what's on peak. I'm going to assume that because it doesn't really say in the instructions, but so I may have to just widen it out a little bit. Of course, as soon as I put my hands there, you can't see what I'm talking about, but I have to widen that out a little bit, and then I can glue that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart and see what we need to do to install it, and then we'll be back. I don't think you need to watch me unscrew the thing. Okay. Let me see something here. So this is the inside of the meter here. Let me see if I can move the camera so we have a better view of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the camera so that we're kind of looking down on it. So give me a second to do that. We'll see what we have to do to lift the camera here. I'm going to pause it so you're not jittered around all over the place. Okay, camera's back running. And I'll try not to move my big head in the way. Let's see how things work here. So the first thing we have to do is apparently pull the coax off the meter. And the meter's marked plainly with plus and minus. So take this off and pull these two little washers off. And as you can see, washers stay here, so that'll take care of that requirement. Let's just see about what we got to do to put this board on here now. Okay. Now the board fits nicely on there. And there's the flat washer back on the top, so as you can see, the meter actually had included them. That is a nice thing. That done, finger tight. And this guy here goes on the negative side, I think. Let's see what we gotta do to make him fit. There he goes. He'll go on the negative side. We're still in the camera. Okay. So let's see, that's the negative one. And that goes right on there. Manipulate the little coax cable underneath. So it does a good job of hiding it and sitting it straight down. And I used the washer on top of the wire connector. So and here was like another thing that kind of had to extrapolate from the pictures is right here. Apparently that's where the positive goes. It does say coax center here, but thanks to he has a lot of good pictures on his eBay page where I was able to calculate that. But again, it would have been nice if it was pretty much just called out in the instructions. You spend a lot of money for one of these meters and you hate to make a mistake and cause all kind of problems. So it's that easy so far, is putting this together. You make this tight, snug it, but not crazy tight. It's not an engine head bolt or anything you're putting in here. Now to decide which side these come on. I believe that the peak kits on the factory ones come out on this side. So I'll see about feeding these wires over through there and what I have to do to get them through there. I believe you push them through and then you make the you put them into the plastic once they're in, and then slide the plastic cup adapter that he gave back in. So the one thing I will have to do is find out what size I need to make it for this LED. Alright, and again, like I said, I don't really think that you need to watch me try and put this in the plastic. Once I get that lined up and the hole drilled and everything, we'll turn the camera back on. The other thing is, this is the 9-volt battery. He has some suggestions for how to mount this, none of which I really like. I'm thinking maybe I'll get some Velcro or something and put it on the battery itself, or put a 9-volt battery holder in here and Velcro that down. We'll see how that works. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, wasn't too bad. Now I haven't fit it into the case as you can see yet, but the switches are installed, and all it really took was, actually I just used a 1/4-inch drill bit, or I mean a 3/16 drill bit, and kind of fouled out a little bit so the switches slid in easier. I could have probably worked them in, but the same thing with the LED. It wouldn't fit. I just actually didn't even use the drill. I just took this 3/16 bit, ran it in a little bit, and it was a real tight fit to get that LED in, but it fit real nice, felt good going in there, and it's not going to pull back out. And I guess I could either use some super glue or RTV to hold it in, but I think we're going to be fine like that. I don't really, my bird meter here doesn't see a lot of rough service where I think that's going to be an issue. So we can get rid of this stuff here, and now see what it's going to take to get this back inside here. Alright, so far so good, I think. I don't know if it might be easier to actually take that retainer off, just because these switches are a little bit big. I don't know if you can see, again, with my hand, or I might just be able to manipulate it back and forth. Give it a try a couple of times before I start taking things off, just to see. Okay, with terrible timing, the battery went dead. Don't get much warning with that. So what I'm going to do is, I want to get these switches, they're not sliding in too easily. So maybe if I loosen them up, they'll be able to cant in toward each other and slide in here. And then I can tighten them up again. Oops. I want to get that sorted out. Yeah, I'll loosen it up here and there. Pause here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in on here a little bit. We're going to look at this. And as I said, what I did was I loosened these two so that I'm able to loosen them a good amount, so I'm able to move the switches around a little bit. Maybe that'll help this slide on in there. Oops. Well, not yet. But let me see. This switch here, the red one, seems to be the biggest one. Well, it doesn't seem to be. It is the biggest switch. So I'm going to pull that one out. Okay, I'll come back. I'm going to pull that out. I'll probably end up filing it a little bit bigger. That switch goes in and out easier. Then I'll put it in. Let me come back and. Okay, so here it is all done. I probably figured you were getting tired of watching me take things in and out and in and out. I'll show you how it works, and then I'll go over what I do and don't like about it. But right now I'm going to zoom into it. I have a 100 watt slug in it. We're using a TS940, which has about 100 watts on sideband. I'm on 28.4, just because that's where I picked. It doesn't much matter. This goes from 2 to 30, so I'm sure it has a little bit of loss. But anyhow, so I'll show you it in its state without the peak tuned in or turned on, and then we'll do it again with it turned on. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You don't really need to see the meter too much. I'm going into a dummy load with the full CW, with the full single sideband power. So whatever that ends up being around, close to probably 100. Let's see. I'll zoom in a little bit more because you're probably going to want to watch that. There we go. So this is without the peak reader on. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, hello, hello, 1, 2. I'll turn the peak reader on. Testing, 1, 2, hello. Hello, hello. So as you can see, it does make a difference. I really don't use it that often in peak mode. But that's it in peak mode. Okay, so the other thing to show you is the multiplier. One of the switches on the side here also is a multiplier, and I'll zoom down and hopefully remember this time to zoom back up. This switch here is, it turns on a little blue light. You'll see that's the peak reader. I'm going to back off because we don't need that. This is the ×2 if you push it up. If you leave it in the center, it's the ×0, ×1 I guess. And then if you push it down, it's the ×5, I believe. I didn't mark anything. So what I'll do is I'll demonstrate that real quick how that works, and that's probably what I use the most because it saves you a little bit of money on, well, a lot of money on what these elements cost. These elements right there, they're about $100 a piece, somewhere in that neighborhood. This one's a 50 watt. I think the light's hitting it wrong. But anyhow, so I get the 100 watt in there, and I'll show you. This is on. I'll put it on CW. And right about 100 watts is what we should see. Make sure that's in the center. There's the center position. Let's see. Yeah, so it goes right to about 100 watts. That's right about where it should be. So we'll pull that out, and I'll put a 50. I'll put a 50 slug in. So we know 50 would be too much, so I'll do it on the ×2, and it should go right to about 100 again. And there it is, right to about 100. See, it takes a little slower, but I mean, I guess you're going to have that. So here we'll do it on the ×5, and that would make like the 5 times 50 would be 250 watts. So there's not really a, well, I guess this would be the 250 watt scale up top here. So we should land somewhere in the area of this, if it's going to be 100. So you can see it reads even slower, but it still gets there. And there is calibration inside. There's little potentiometers you could calibrate. Again, I don't know how accurate things are going to be. I don't think you'd want to be using the ×5 on a 50 for 100 watts if you didn't need to. But anyhow, that's how it works on this scale. I'm sorry, on the ×5 and ×2 multiplier and the ×1 multiplier. I said, yeah, I actually have photos. So I sent him the photos. He said, great photos. Yeah, he says, I see, it looks connected right. I'll send you another one. So he sent it back. He sent me another one. I sent him the other one back. He paid the postage and everything. You know, the only thing I was out was a little bit of time, but he took care of it. He gave me a new one. I could actually see that the other one was actually missing a wire, but put the new one in, works fine. So he did make good with it. So to tell you the truth, I really very rarely do I use the peak reading. I like the multiplier set part of it because originally I only had 2 probes for this, so when I was getting above 100 watts I needed something. I kind of like that. How much I put into its accuracy is another story. One of the things I don't like about it is, I don't know if you can see in here, but the board is right there. I'll shine the light in there and it'll make it terrible. But if you can see that in there, that's the board and it comes right here. So what's the problem there? No more storing a spare plug in here. So what I want to do is, it looks like possibly if I get standoffs and maybe about a 1/4 inch high, that I'll be able to raise this board up out of the way of that, so I'll be able to store this. Not that I really need one storage that much, but I think it looks kind of stupid with a hole in the side of it. But other than that, it was a pretty easy project. As you can see, the instructions probably left a little more to be desired. I wasn't sure what the exact process was, so I remember the problems I had with that. Had to put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out to figure out how the switches went. And the other thing too, I'm sure if this board was raised a little bit, the switches would probably fit in there a lot easier, still installed in this cup. But either way, it's not a big deal. I guess for the price and the simplicity of putting it in, it was probably worth it, especially considering these are about $100 a piece for the, well, you know what they cost. They're about $100 a piece for the HF ones, and UHF and VHF, sometimes they're a little cheaper, sometimes a little more, depends on where the market's at. But that's all I have. I'll get this out. Thanks for watching. Not sure if I actually said who the vendor was. It's an eBay vendor, ham operator, and thanks to him, he didn't supply it for free, but thanks to him for taking care of that when it wasn't working. Thanks for watching.